Dear Dynasty, my darkest moments until one point changed everything. Honestly, it was the end of 2025, and this was one of the few moments in my life where I genuinely felt like I lost control. Not because of something tragic, not because life suddenly fell apart, but because I slowly realized I wasn't in charge of my life, wasn't in charge of my days. I felt like I had lost all sense of control. And if you have honestly ever felt like this, I feel the story might hit closer to home for the honesties. Before I continue, I should warn you, this is one of the most vulnerable stories I will ever share. Just go for it. Whatever. So, interestingly enough, it didn't happen on a rainy day, as we would probably assume it did. It was on rather a sunny day. And I mean, it's not so bad weather. It's what orchestrates us having good days or bad days. Because sometimes everything around in the world looks fine, but inside you're completely overwhelmed. At the time, I was a third year student, and one day my mother came to pick me up from school so I could spend some time at home for the break. Now, the truth was, ever since I entered university, my relationship with the idea of home started to change. Not because I hated my parents, I loved them deeply, but naturally, I'm a very ambitious person. The mind is always filled with ideas, plans, actions, goals that I have to accomplish within a year. And this was the end of 2025. So this was like the last mark. This was like my last chance of being able to do anything crazy. So 2025 was a good year. But something unexpected happened that would change the course of all my plans were to do for this last period of 2025. And then when I first got in, the problem started to afflict themselves. At first, it was just the network being terrible. But like, even for me, the problem is actually a small problem because network isn't really that crazy of a problem. It's just that when you have projects and work, responsibilities, communication, network being terrible can also be like the stacks of tasks when you have to attend to when you have network work. And it started to hit me in a weird way because it makes me to feel like I was avoiding my responsibilities. But that wasn't the case as well, because it's projects needed attention and slowly something started to change in me. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had lost control over my days, even the mornings, the environments, because every morning my parents had already things planned for me. And I guess if you grew up in an African household, you would probably understand this. Clean the house, wash the car, arrange the living room, help with me, help this, do that, and other tasks and other things. And eventually, my days started to feel like they had already been scheduled before I woke up. It felt like the only time I didn't have anyone saying anything to my ear was when I slept. Now I want to be clear. I don't blame my parents, but at this moment in my life, my environment really started to feel like the biggest obstacle. And the worst part wasn't the shortest, it was the feeling that was slowly behind in my own life. the spiral, the overwhelm doesn't hit with a sudden feeling like it's an explosion. It's way more quiet. It spirals. One unfinished task becomes three, three becomes 10, 10 becomes guilt. And suddenly, you start to ask yourself the dangerous question of how did you get there? Because I'm not someone who likes blaming others for my mistakes. I genuinely started to feel lost. I had a small turning point where it was my brother's birthday. I randomly, out of flashbacks for the sake of my eyes out there that which is one of the characters is flashback, something like that. I remember something like really not well, a friend that was mentioned to me, and it was just three words, one thing at a time. The thing is, for this conversation I had with this friend, you would have to have context about who I was, this person explaining. Because the thing is, I think I come off to people as a multi-talented person, whereas sometimes these are these things that people solve. But yeah, it starts to become overwhelming when you can do so much multiple things and you have so much potential. And you can, most people don't see their potential. Someone in my side of view sees the potential, but they don't just have the space or the environment to act, which is genuinely annoying. But yeah, so it created pressure for me because when you have many paths, you become afraid of choosing the wrong one. In the research that I had to have. So I tried something simple. Instead of trying to handle everything that was going wrong in my life, I picked out one thing, like what she said, one thing. My physique. I started writing a training prompt. So basically, a personal trainer prompt. Yeah, that's what it was. And this personal trainer prompt allows me to be able to work out. And strangely enough, I simplified my focus. And because I did that, my mind became all of a sudden clear. It wasn't that my life became easy. It was that the nerves had disappeared. So after having this realization, I asked myself a question. If I could accomplish three things in a year, what would I want to accomplish? What would make me fulfilled? And my answer was quite simple, but also challenging. Having a great physique, making money, and experiences with friends and family. And I chose the word impact because I realized something. Life isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing the few things that actually matter. The reason why I told this story and what this experience taught me was something I coined as spiral growth. When you read about the books, things like poetry and all the other ones, you tend to notice that no one would ever coin their growth as being linear. They rather say it's something that kind of just is, and then it springs out. And most people just call it non-linear, but I believe most humans growths are of a spiral nature because spiral natures are like what springs forward. And if you guys can see this, wow, the blur is working really well. What I wrote on this paper is spiral, non-linear, and a drawing. So, with that drawing of the spiral roof versus the linear roof, it kind of shows that our lives can either spiral upwards or downwards. And it's like our lives are a spring. So sometimes we go down and we end up shooting back up again. So it's okay to feel lost and misdirected and spiral down for a bit. But just know, really, you're getting lost. And it's like, you have to decide that either you're going to continue stretching yourself out or you're going to finally compress and shoot yourself back up. And that's what I have to do. So sometimes you get lost, sometimes you fall, sometimes we are overwhelmed. But every time we reflect and we redirect yourself, which is a spiral growth. So yeah, and you rise up again like a spiral. Each leaf looks similar, but you're actually higher than you were before. And this is my closing message. This is my final thoughts. Honestly, Dynasties, this story was really wonderful to share. But I think it matters because no matter how many goals you have, you always have to keep control over one thing in your life. And if you have dreams too, you can learn how to use something that I also learned from the diary of the CEO, which is called dissociation. It's like the best thing for someone who has multiple things that they can do. Just carry all of them, drop in dissociation, and you focus, you just pick out things from dissociation and focus on it. Because when you actually focus on it, it actually leads you to good results. Because not every dream needs to be chased right now. Sometimes you just need one thing that will keep you sane in the moment. And yeah, so I'm trying to kind of make this kind of my series where I just read out something from my journal as to well from my journal where I reflect and I think about the things I do each day. It's just like so and as I'm building businesses or relationships or friendships or going through challenges, I sometimes come in here and write about them. So that's the best way for me to be able to reflect through them. And honestly, if you see yourself surely in one of these in this experience, if you feel like you relate to this experience, I feel you could just do me a favor and subscribe, join the Dynasties, and we go together. I feel like I'm going to make this my phone while I just read out my journal and address you guys as Dynasties because that's what because of it's like Dynasties is actually talking to whoever is reading this journal in the nearest future. So it's like Dear Dynasty, dear future self that's already achieved the goals. Your past self is talking to you. But anyways, I feel this was a great video to make and probably would see you for the next one. This is something I think will be here for the long run. Dynasty out.